Coming up on ATV News.
It's raining orange. We'll show you what Utah State students do with their leftover pumpkins.
This year, USU hosted TEDx. We'll show you one woman's determination for superhero diversity.
We'll show you how the Elite Hall dance floor puts an extra spring in your step.
If you're going to be up in the mountains this weekend, I'll tell you if you should bring your hiking boots or your snowboard.
Some teams had a letdown and others had a pick-me-up. I'll show you who did what in Aggie sports.
All that and more, this is ATV News. Welcome to ATV News. I'm Tess Griffith.
And I'm Emily Duke. USU President Stan Albrecht is retiring, and the Utah Board of Regents has chosen a new president. The board came to Utah State University to announce their choice of who will succeed President Albrecht. They chose Noelle Cockett to be the school's 16th president. Following remarks from President Albrecht, Cockett accepted the invitation and will become the first female president of Utah State University. The audience gave her a standing ovation, and she and President Albrecht hugged afterward. During her speech, Cockett said that she wants to continue what Albrecht started.
I will build on the foundation that Stan and Joyce have established, and along with the other extraordinary USU team members, keep the university on its path of excellence.
Cockett has worked at USU for 26 years, and she'll start her presidency in January.
If you plan to vote at the nearest elementary school on election night, you might be disappointed. If you're registered to vote, you should have gotten your ballot in the mail by now, even if you opted to vote in person. There will be 3 vote in-person locations on election night, including one at the Cache County Clerk's office, because this is the first presidential election that Cache Valley is primarily using mail-in ballots. Cache County Clerk says mail-in ballots are cheaper and more effective than the usual in-person voting system. She says mail-in ballots do initially increase voter participation. However,
in the second vote by mail election, it recedes, and usually by the 3rd or 4th general election where you're doing vote by mail, you see voter turnout typically back to essentially the same place that it was before the switch.
if you want more information about how to get involved in this year's election, check out the ATV Facebook page.
The building we are sitting in right now is making a change. Brock Damjanovic joins us outside to show us where you can see it for yourself. Brock?
Thanks, Emily. That's right. The building that you're sitting in, the building I'm standing in front of, is now called the Stan L. Albrecht Agricultural Sciences Building. This is in honor of the service that he's given.
This is, we're having some technical difficulties. We're not seeing Brock. Sorry, guys.
Sorry about that.
Okay, go.
This building was completed under his leadership in 2012. The Board of Trustees named it after him to honor his almost 16 years of service to the university.
This is pretty amazing. I had no idea this was going to happen. I told them at the day of the naming that the one thing I really was grateful for was they did it while I was still alive, because typically buildings are named after someone's dead. So I got to see it happen, got to celebrate. But it's an incredible honor, an unexpected honor.
Brock back, but we love this building. It's just like home. And President Albrecht says that his plans after he retires are to head up to Alaska and get some fishing in. So we hope he has a great time. Yeah. A car accident?
Oh, sorry, I'll take that. A car accident closed off a Logan Street Thursday afternoon. A woman was in the Carl's Jr. drive-thru when she had a seizure and sideswiped another car. She drove over the curb and into traffic on 1400 North, where she then ran into this van. Police closed the inside lanes on 1400 North heading eastbound until the drivers could move their vehicles.
A multi-car accident in Smithfield sent several people to the hospital. The rain was coming down when 4 separate vehicles were involved in an accident on 850 South Main Street, causing a pileup and bringing out multiple ambulances to take 5 people to the hospital. But despite the mess in the street, not everyone was seriously hurt.
Most of the vehicles got banged up pretty bad. Ours isn't as bad as the other ones.
The Smithfield Police Department hasn't released the condition of the victims yet.
Former USU linebacker Torrey Green will remain behind bars after his initial hearing last week.
Green is currently being held without bail here in Logan. Green, who was charged with 4 counts of rape, 1 count of kidnapping, and 1 count of aggravated sexual assault, faced a judge in a Cache Valley courtroom last Friday. He remained handcuffed while he was questioned and through the entire court proceedings. A bail hearing is scheduled for December 13th, but the Cache County attorney says he will oppose bail.
Given the number of reported sexual assaults and the information that we have, we believe that we could put on substantial evidence that he's a danger to the community.
Green is scheduled to remain in custody in Cache County Jail until his hearing.
When we come back, you could be wasting money at the pump. We'll tell you why coming up.
If you don't think superhero diversity is important, USU's TEDx presented one woman who's determined to change your mind.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Just like human beings, every rock has a story.
I saw this poster on the internet, Save the Bees, Save Humanity. It's a great idea. The problem is that's not a bee.
Talks like these fueled the 5th annual USU TEDx event at the Kane Concert Hall. They covered topics like finding your identity all over again and why comic book diversity is so important.
When we don't understand, when we don't celebrate diversity, when we force our comic book characters and our heroes to look like one small group, the rest of us are forgotten.
That was the journalism department's own Deb Jensen, who says TEDx gave her the chance to talk about something she's been passionate about for years.
6 months of work and preparation and 9 minutes of absolute bliss. Being able to have a captive audience listen to me talk about something I love.
The event will move to the Kent Concert Hall next year, which has over 5 times the seating capacity.
If you buy premium grade gas for your regular grade car, a new story says that you're wasting your money, but you're not alone. 16.5 million of us pushed the premium button last year, and that was $2.1 billion wasted for premium in cars that call for regular. AAA's research found no benefit for doing that. It says premium gas is higher in octane and price, but not quality. They say drivers should follow their owner's manual and save money.
I'll probably just stick with the regular stuff because it's cheaper, and I feel like the more expensive stuff's for newer cars, and my car's older.
Only 16% of U.S. drivers own a vehicle that requires premium gas.
445! This is Troy Oldham, the new men's lacrosse coach at USU.
Please.
Oldham grew up in Cache Valley and played lacrosse at Utah State. And he says he's...
Awesome,
Sorry about that, guys.
All right, so we have Kaylin Taylor here. You've got sports. What's going on?
I sure do. Well, let me tell you, Tess, Utah State has a new lacrosse coach, and he's a Logan High School and Utah State alum.
445! This is Troy Oldham, the new men's lacrosse coach at USU. Oldham grew up in Cache Valley and played lacrosse at Utah State. And he says he's honored to get to coach the sport at the school he's so fond of.
I love Utah State University, so I can't imagine a better place to coach. Oh!
Before USU, Oldham coached lacrosse at Skyview High, where he led the team to a state championship. There, he adopted his blue-collar coaching philosophy based on mutual respect.
Hard work's a big one. I think respect is something that I've always tried to make sure that my players and my coaches have for each other, and then players have for each other.
Lance!
Last season, during a transitional period for the team, the Aggies posted their worst record since the birth of the program.
Last year felt like I guess a disappointment because we didn't have enough wins.
Especially with club sports, the year after such a rough losing season, it gets really hard to bring enough returning players back to even field a team. Without the efforts of Coach Oldham and the presidency, this year the lacrosse field could have looked just like this, empty.
Our coaching staff is way better than it was last year, and I'm really looking forward to see what they can bring to the team.
Despite the bitter taste of last year still in the mouth of some players, Oldham says he's hopeful for a successful season.
I want them to see that they are champions. They can go to our conference championship, and I think this team even has a chance to go to the next step to the Nationals.
On USU's campus, Mark Rosa, ATV News.
If you want to check out the new and improved men's lacrosse team in action, the Aggies take on UVU at 11 a.m. this Saturday.
It's pretty cool that they have a new coach. I had a lot of friends who played lacrosse in high school. I don't know much about it, but it's always great when you bring in new blood to a program.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool to see what happens with them this season. When we come back, men's basketball doesn't play until Friday. I'll show you what they did last week they haven't done before.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
I grew up in the housing projects of Cleveland. I didn't even know that life could be any better than it was. Education for me has been a way to get away from the agony of what was normal life. I want to be able to impact the community, not just look back on where I came from, but to reach back to where I came from and pull some people up with me. My name is David, and I am your dividend.
They've got a tremendous tailback. The quarterback is a very, very good player. He can beat you with his feet or his arm. They got big, physical linemen.
It's frustrating, and you hate to work that hard all week and really think you've got a good chance to go in there and stop them and then have a performance like that. So it's frustrating for sure.
Carmen was talking about Utah State's loss to San Diego State last Friday. USU went up 7-0 in the game when Kent Myers took it in himself from 10 yards out on the opening drive. But on the very next play, Rashad Penny took the kick and said, "See ya," past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Aggies, until finally the 8th man was able to bring him down after 56 yards. Then Jawan Washington got 39 of the Aztecs' 400 rush yards on this touchdown run that was the first of 40 straight points for San Diego State. During that span, SDSU knocked in 4 field goals like this one and punched in another touchdown. But the real star of the show is the one running right towards you, Donnell Pumphrey, the Aztec running back and Heisman hopeful. Here he is busting off a 44-yard gain. He had 223 yards in the game without playing in the fourth quarter. And he leads the NCAA with 1,469 yards. The final score was 40-13. Unfortunately, things don't get any easier next week against Wyoming.
They've got a tremendous tailback. The quarterback is a very, very good player. He can beat you with his feet or his arm. They got big, physical linemen.
That running back you heard Wells mention is Brian Hill, and he's second in the NCAA behind only Pumphrey. From the field to the rink, let's get you caught up on Utah State hockey. Utah State and BYU faced off on the ice last Friday. The Aggies started the scoring early with this one-time shot from defenseman Brandon Fisher to put the team up 1-0. Later in the first, BYU worked its offense in the zone to get this shot, which snuck past Aggie goalie Colton Pritchard to tie the game. Skip forward to the third period, and it's 2-1 Aggies, but the Cougars slipped another puck past Pritchard to tie the game at 2-2. After that, it was pretty much all Aggies. USU scored a power play goal here. Then, less than a minute later, Alex Herman dropped one in from the slot, right there. And with under 2 minutes to play, Chris Cutshaw cut through the defense and went top shelf to secure the win. Your final score from Logan was 5-3.
We were a little bit more focused. We worked together. Our lines were working, working teammates were, trying to help set up other teammates instead of trying to do it on themselves.
That was Utah State's first home win, and the Aggies are back in action this weekend with home games against Weber and UVU. Utah State men's basketball plays its first game on Friday. But last week, the team took to the court with women from across the valley for the first time. Ladies' night started with a speech from USU head coach Tim Duryea. Then the ladies were split into teams and paired with players. Once in groups, they worked on defensive footwork, went over a scouting report in the team room, then ran a set play on offense, like this one here, and finally they finished up with some shooting drills in the Estes Center. After that, the players gave out some prizes to the excited fans.
The ladies were having a great time. The players were having a great time, opportunity to coach them and play with them and do those things. So I think it was a win-win for everyone.
The Utah State coaches said they plan on doing Ladies' Night again next year. Utah State women's soccer played its first game in the Mountain West tournament yesterday. The Aggies beat the Wyoming Cowgirls 2-1 in the first round. Thursday, USU will play top-seeded UNLV in the semifinals. That's your rundown on Aggie sports. This weekend, USU plays football at Wyoming. The volleyball team has 2 home matches, and men's and women's basketball both play their exhibition games at home. So if you want to get out and watch some Aggie sports, your weekend plans are set. I'll go ahead and send it back to the desk to Tess and Emily.
Thanks, Kaylin. When we come back, ATV's Claire King will have your Cache Valley weather report.
The current temperature in Logan is 54 degrees.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now. No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. Seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic. To change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall. And make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Can you say with me? Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite, unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first thing that helps to change a life. People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
All right, welcome back. So our weather this past week has been kind of all over the place. On Saturday, it was super hot and sunny, and then these past couple days have been really raining cats and dogs. But before we talk about how Utah's weather is kind of crazy sometimes, we're going to go into the national radar right here. So if you caught our weather report last week, you'll notice that it's looking kind of the same. There's some similarities. So over here, we still have a whole lot of rain that's going on in Washington, and hopefully that'll clear up for them soon. And then as far as the Great Lakes region that was kind of getting that same blob last week, it's kind of spread out throughout the country right here. So it's looking a little bit better there. So now we can talk about Utah if we want to go back into our state radar. We'll just give them a second to get to that. There we go. All right, so here's Utah. As you can see, there's not a whole lot to be scared of right here. In fact, if you might want to be able to take advantage of this weather while we still have it and the snow starts dumping on us. I would recommend taking a hike. Logan Canyon offers some beautiful hikes in the fall, and the temperatures haven't really dropped. So the leaves are still on the trees, and so it's a really beautiful view from up there if you want to give that a look. Let's go into our 7-day forecast to see how it's looking. All right, so for you snow bunnies who are not so much looking forward to going on hikes and you want to hit the slopes, unfortunately this next week's not really going to be the week for you. As you can see here, the temperatures are all staying pretty high and we're not getting much precipitation. In fact, it's looking pretty sunny all throughout the week. This morning we had some precipitation in our air. It was really foggy, but it cleared up and it's looking pretty good. So we're gonna go on to our next thing. So as I mentioned earlier, it was pretty rainy at the beginning of this week, but it wasn't all just water. Last weekend I went to the pumpkin toss where it was raining pumpkins.
Hey, team number 8.
First comes the launch, and then comes the smash. A lot of smashing. Students say it's a fun time, but it takes a lot of time to get ready.
40 to 60 hours. I mean, if you multiply that by how many people were there, we're looking at around 200, 300 hours.
But they say watching the pumpkins fly makes it all worth it.
Seeing something that we had built actually work just was awesome.
Even if the machine doesn't always throw far or launch in the right direction. The trebuchets compete in 2 events. First, accuracy.
There it is, baby. There it is. Got it! Yeah!
All the flags that marked where the pumpkin fell were within a circle of like 4 feet diameter or something like that, so they were very consistent throws.
Teams had to hit one of these targets: a few dumpsters, a ton of trash cans, or this SUV marked with a blue Y. The SUV took the most hits. Then, teams added more weight to see who could launch their pumpkins the farthest. The farthest pumpkin flew 430 feet. That's farther than a whole football field. The crowd favorite, not just a pumpkin, but a pumpkin filled with candy. These pumpkin piñatas were fired in between the rounds. Kids could run for it and grab as many treats as they could hold. The pumpkin toss is put on every year by the American Society of Mechanical Engineers.
Great, thanks Claire. When we come back,
you probably saw lots of kids dressed up for Halloween, but Halloween isn't just for the youngsters. We'll show you how the young and the old celebrated the holiday.
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
welcome back. You may not think about how the floor you're walking on was made. ATV's Amy Kobabe is live to show you how one dance floor has some real spring. Amy?
Yeah, Tess. Elite Hall in Hiram was built 100 years ago. And at the time, it was really popular to build spring floors. And those are made like this. They put a couple of planks of wood down, and then, almost like weaving a basket, they placed a few over the top like this. And then they put a platform over that, and that kind of makes the weight distribute evenly, and it actually makes the whole floor bounce. So when a band is playing on one end of the room, the floor moves on another.
The
This rare dance floor has a lot of character under its surface.
It's not too bouncy that you're flying around in the air, but it's also just bouncy enough. It has enough spring. It lets you dance better.
It's kind of a subtle bounce, but it's a bounce. Those who dance here can feel the beat of the music through the floor, and they can feed off the dancing of others.
People that are new to dancing can come and feel the beat even if they have no idea how to dance.
The city plans to renovate the building to keep it around for years to come. Part of the upcoming renovation includes changing the blue paint on the outside and tearing down this complete north side wall. All the walls will eventually be replaced, which is costly, but it's worth it to those who say this place is full of memories.
You talk to any old person here in Hiram, they'll tell you exactly what memories they had here at the Elite Hall.
And it connects these younger dancers with the past.
It's just a great opportunity for us to kind of live in how our grandparents or our past families lived.
The music can help with that too.
I love the atmosphere that you get, especially with the live band. I love dancing to the old-timey music.
I have to agree with him about that music. That's the Cache Community Band, and they play at Elite Hall every third Saturday. Back to you, Tess.
Thanks, Amy. So, did you get some dancing in?
Well, I did. I've never swing danced before, but I gave it a try and I might go back.
Awesome. Thank you.
When Halloween rolls around at Utah State, you can always count on one thing: the howl. More than 5,000 people packed the Taggart Student Center and the Fieldhouse Saturday night for the annual dance. The Halloween-themed party, which is marketed as the largest college Halloween party in the state, had 2 dances, an oxygen bar, airbrush tattoos, and lots of volunteers. People came to USU from all over to join the fun, but partygoers said the large numbers were handled well.
It was pretty fun. And I didn't feel like it was all that crowded either. Like there was a bunch of people there, but it wasn't like super crazy.
The Student Association sold 5,500 tickets and had almost 200 volunteers to help make the dance happen.
Halloween is over, but you may want to check out how some Cache Valley residents spent their holiday. On Monday, I saw where the young and the old got together for some Halloween fun.
Trick or treat! They're having some Halloween celebrations out here at Sunshine Terrace. They have little kids going around and going trick-or-treating. And we have a bag full of candy to hold.
The kids are just so cute. Some were interested in the candy. Some were interested in my little guy here. Okay. You don't feel he won't hurt you.
We let the children have a candy when they walk by there. It's all for the little kids. I'd like to choose one.
We're trick-or-treating. I'm a waiter from the 1950s.
They have a balloon man that makes all kinds of fancy things with balloons. And he made me this hat, and he's making fancy balloons for anybody who wants one. So it's a lot of fun.
I got a lot of my favorite candies.
Thank you. You're welcome.
I just think they're having a really wonderful Halloween party.
I'm probably going to tell my friends about it.
It's always fun when the little kids walk by, and at least just for one day, people can put aside their arguments and their fights and their differences and just do something nice for people. Happy.
Sunshine Terrace holds the event every Halloween.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
Catch all the latest editions of ATV News on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some of the Day of the Dead celebration here on campus. Have a great day, Aggies.